What are you doing? What do we got going on here?
Got a gang in my palms, I fuck around women, this bitch, I just stick my whole arm in. I was letting them live for a while, put 2 feet on their neck, tell them bitches ain't done with them.
A lot of people are not finna like this shit right here, boy. How did this even happen? That's what I want to know. How did this even happen right now? Man, so comes to find out, I guess a lot of it must have been capped. A lot of it must have been capped. But anyway, man, we gonna hop right into it. See what's going on here. Apparently, Diddy is not guilty of some of the things that he has been accused for. So let's see what's cracking down on this. This video is by what's his name? Omeezy. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. I don't mean to. Don't mean no disrespect. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
People are pouring baby oil on one another outside this courthouse. Baby oil having a very big play in the freak-offs we heard about.
Hey, yo.
People saying it's not Rico, it's freak.
The video just started and we already on some crazy shit. Why are y'all? Is this in honor of Diddy not being found guilty of his shit? Like, is that what this is? Like, we just gonna drown ourselves in baby oil because this nigga is not found guilty? Like, what? Anyway, the fuck? Man, what are you doing? What do we got going on here?
I don't know what she gonna do, y'all.
Maybe I do need to revisit the Black Fatigue video. I maybe I was wrong. In a shocking turn of events that I don't think a lot of people saw coming today, Diddy found not guilty on damn near everything at this point. Only 2 of the counts stuck on his jacket, one being transportation to engage in prostitution of Cassie, and the other one in transportation to engage in prostitution. This one was of a Jane Doe, but not on the 2 counts of trafficking and not on the racketeering conspiracy charge. Now, as I record right now,
so what y'all gotta say now, huh? What y'all gotta say now? People was accusing him of sex trafficking, the nigga ain't sex trafficking, so now there's still gonna be a good amount of people that don't believe that. Obviously, unless you was there at the party, you don't know what went down. So, and then of course there's a whole bunch of other conspiracy theories and all that, but we ain't gonna dive too deep into that.
Not been any sort of sentencing on the 2 transportation charges, but I will say that those are the lesser of the evils. Those only come with at max 10 years apiece, so 20 years, but at max he's not gonna face the max. It's quite unprecedented that Diddy basically beat a RICO case. He beat the feds, and he could get maybe some time served or some sort of bail, which we'll talk about in a minute, or he could walk out scot-free today. I will say to me that this is like extremely shocking.
I don't know about scot-free. Scot-free is I'm not saying it's impossible, but it'll have to be a miracle for you to get away with all the shit that you've been exposed on. Like, I don't know about that one.
This channel, we haven't been following up on the Diddy case like we should have. After the initial baby oil stunt, I stepped a little bit away, but honestly, court cases are so convoluted.
Nah, having that much baby oil at your disposal is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So much evidence involved and are intertwined with people's actual lives that every time I got a glimpse into the situation, honestly, it hurt my heart. Like, no joke, it hurt my heart to participate in these conversations. We saw the Cassie video. We knew he was a monster from past stories and things that were said about him in the hip-hop industry. This almost seemed like a slam dunk case, but to be honest with you, a lot of us are sitting,
and a part of that is due to the fact that I don't keep up with celebrities' lives because I don't care. I'm too worried about my own life and my own personal shit that I got going on to be worried about what other individuals that have already made it have going on. Like, I don't care about their relationships or nothing like that. I'm only worried about myself. But since I'm doing since I'm doing reactions on this channel and we are being fairly consistent on it, I'm gonna have to keep up with the news a bit more. So yeah. Also, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram too as well. If there's anything that you want me to react to, send it to me on Instagram. I'll go ahead and react to it. Just let me know.
Blindsided today. Now, I will say I erred on the side of caution because one thing and one thing only stood out to me. This verdict was close to a holiday, a major holiday. And I know what happens when cases come close to a major holiday. I saw it in the Tory Lanez trial versus the state where it was brushed up against the holiday and people that were deliberating was like, you know what, been gone for long enough, kind of want to wrap this up fast and hurry. I don't want to be a part of this situation anymore. And it has to be, plus I get a 3-day weekend. I'm going home. Now, after settling that lawsuit, more lawsuits came out where there were allegations of sexual assault in the 90s, underage claims that were going on in the past. Diddy denied a bunch of these things, damn near all of these things. There were claims that he was grooming in 2024, early 2024, and all these cases and all these claims started to stack up against Diddy, and most of them had no substantial proof. But then in May 2024, that is when the Cassie video dropped, which opened up Pandora's box for everyone to believe everything that was said in the past and everyone else to come down the pipeline. So as lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit kept piling up and piling up and piling up, I mean, it just made Diddy look worse than anything we had ever seen before. Hearing about trauma is one thing, but seeing trauma and seeing it in literal 4K is another. Eventually, he gets hit with this RICO after multiple claims, multiple cases, multiple lawsuits, him trying to seemingly flee the country, running around, celebrate. That was a mess of a time. I know people don't really remember it, but that was a whale of a time. Ultimately, he gets hit with this RICO case, and in this RICO case, he's getting charged with conspiracy, trafficking, prostitution, all these other things like that. So with all that evidence up against him, that people saw being depicted out in court, they were wondering how the hell could something like this happen or reach a verdict today where he is getting off with less than a slap on the wrist.
It goes on to say he was not guilty on both charges of trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion in connection with Ventura and Jane. Combs was accused of being the ringleader of an alleged enterprise that abused, threatened, and coerced women into prolonged drug-fueled sexual orgies with male prostitutes, which he called freak-offs, and then threatened them into silence. Combs has said that all of this was consensual and that while his relationships sometimes involved domestic violence,
wow,
he wasn't engaging in trafficking. Combs,
damn, that nigga just admitted to domestic violence. I mean, at least we know something, or at least something of what went on is true, as far as them weird ass, freaky ass freak-offs that he had going on. But honestly, him getting this much let off of him is already crazy enough in itself. So who knows? He might actually walk. If he ends up walking away free from it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, what can you do?
lawyer Mark A. said Combs was simply part of the swinger lifestyle and that he vehemently denies the accusations made by the Southern District of New York.
Shouts out to friend of the show, AV to the 7th Power. She broke it down beautifully on her live stream as to what happened in real time from the perspective of a lawyer. I definitely recommend that you guys check it out, because over here, we just here to make you laugh and giggle. We don't necessarily know all of the facts. I'm not going to claim to be some sort of expertise, but I do want to break down a little bit as to why he did not get hit with what a lot of people thought he could get hit with. People were on the timeline asking, how do you get hit hit with the prostitution, transportation of that and stuff like that, but not the trafficking. It's that simple coercion and force and money portion of it, and that's the reason why he ultimately didn't get hit with those things. Now, I saw what I saw in the video from Cassie, but they were claiming that she took his phone and ran out, so that's what caused P. Diddy to, you know, go out there and be abusive to her in the hallway. And they acknowledged a bunch of abuse that was going on throughout the duration of their relationship. It's even weird to talk about this stuff, but ultimately none of that was linked to, you know, the sexual acts. The acts were free and willing by the participants, is what they were saying. There are even people on the timeline saying that the prosecution made the mistake of, you know, trying to portray P. Diddy as some sort of freakball general the whole time, not necessarily some sort of criminal organizer. If you remember in the Young Thug case, it was a conglomerate of people. There were 28 people, which makes sense for a RICO case. You know, it's supposed to be some sort of organization. There should be a lot of names and faces attached to this. So where are all these people?
Because here's the thing, in the Young Thug case, we had 28 people indicted. 28.
Damn.
So it wasn't just Thug. Thug was allegedly the kingpin. You know, I think in their opening argument they said he was the leader of the pack or something like that, right? But here with Diddy, notice that these charges are against Diddy and Diddy alone, not Diddy and other people, not KK, the assistant, not, you know, like it's Diddy and his companies. Bad Boy, right?
Right.
I don't know if Revolt was listed, but it was just Diddy and his company. So when you have companies, those are entities.
I think instead of pursuing this angle that Diddy was some sort of freakball and bringing somebody like a Cassie Ventura, who ultimately had to speak on.
For those of you that don't understand business, since it's his company, you know, typically whenever you do own a business or anything like that, if you have an LLC, for example, if you know what an LLC is, that is a separate identity from you as a person. So your LLC or your business is its own separate entity. Like your business will have its own, technically, social security number and all that. They call it an EIN number. So that's pretty much what she's trying to say in that sense on that part. If you are financially literate or well versed in the business space, then you know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
behalf onto the stand, they should have definitely focused on the criminal acts and how they could link those things together. Not only because they possibly missed out on getting the conviction of somebody who a lot of people just would think is just evil. Like they understand the stories, the lore about P. Diddy. This is not some sort of secret. I'm not breaking any news right here, but they do think that he is evil. But also it would keep us from these nasty conversations about Cassie Ventura being some sort of complicit party in this. And look, if you watched the case and heard some of the things that Cassie said about, you know, sticking around, or the phone calls where she says she could have somebody packed up and stuff like that, you probably have a new perspective on Cassie as a whole. But two things are true. One, she is a victim. I mean, we've seen it on 4K closed circuit television. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if she ended up taking his phone and running down the hallway. There's no way you put your hands on that type of woman. And two, mentally, everything is not right up there. I can't begin to imagine the mind state of somebody who had been put through some of the traumas and some of the situations and stuff that was described in this court case. So I'm not even going to pretend. But I do know one thing. I think that this is going to set a nasty precedent for people that are involved in situations like this. Now, granted, I do think that a lot of times, you know, when Tony Busby or the likes are attached to these lawsuits against celebrities, that, you know, people should generally ignore them. Tony Busby is just out there to get clout and money, etc., especially because he's, you know, had a bunch of cases dismissed or whatever. But that does not mean these uber powerful people do not take advantage of the women or the men or the children in their lives. We know that Hollywood is weird. We do not have to act as if it's not weird.
The reason why you got to question P. Diddy's lawyers is because these are things that they brought up. Now, mind you, it may be a way to get them off the...
Which is also another reason why, like, I wouldn't even want to get involved with Hollywood for real. I ain't even trying to really be a part of that lifestyle for real. Because the idea of, you know, what comes with that, like, you gotta be ready with what comes with that. And most people don't know what they getting at. Most people don't know what they getting themselves into. So Yeah, you gotta be ready with what comes with Hollywood when you are involved with Hollywood, and you just gotta be mindful of that.
Charges in the conversation by openly admitting, yo, this is a violent man, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But was there any sort of criminal organization going on? No, not at all. That got him off the bigger charges. However, it's coming back to bite him in the butt now because he will have to sit in a prison cell because they are deeming him to be a violent man.
And so now when we're searching for this perfect victim all the time because Cassie kept trying to go back and she is a part of the stop. You people I can't take serious because you're not taking this thing serious. You're no different than the people who are doing the parlays for Diddy and putting money down to see what he gets charged.
Why the people betting on whether or not Diddy getting off? Wait. Pause. That doesn't even sound right. No Diddy. Pause, bruh. Man, but niggas really out here betting on whether or not Diddy gonna come back free. I ain't gonna lie, just even saying this nigga's name is just yeah, we gotta be careful. Yeah, let's be cautious with how we use that name from now on.
Or the people that are outside of the court making an absolute boondock skit.
It's like no matter what, like it's just nothing sounds right.
Of themselves while Diddy is being read his sentencing. Like I don't even understand what these people are doing. Why don't they have jobs?
You can have these two items, they're legal, but if you put them together, you end up in a freak. So remember I told y'all what. So look, you see this? If it don't slip, you must have quit. You must have quit.
Oh my goodness. Say that again?
If it don't slip, you must have quit.
Black fatigue. Now, one thing that did come to mind when this happened, because some of us did think that this was a possibility beforehand, is that what happens to P. Diddy afterwards? We've seen situation after situation in which public figure that is extremely popular gets hit with some sort of criminal case where women, children, men, whatever are involved, and they are vulnerable and they are ultimately victims, whether it be proven on video or in the court hearings. And honestly, their public perception does not change. Now, we've seen stuff be altered and people have different thoughts and opinions and feelings on certain people, but I'm seeing a lot of people, whether they be commenters on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whether it be the people outside the court, that are extremely jovial over the fact that P. Diddy, somebody who has admitted and acknowledged to doing things that are still bad, like I don't think that people think that domestic violence is a good thing, are just sitting there happy that he is free. Now, his public image, he can't just go out there and be his normal self again. I do know that tip.
Oh no, this man's public image is probably forever ruined. Like, niggas are gonna know you. Niggas are going to know you for literally freak offs and being a freaky ass nigga. Like, no cap. Like, that's the image of Diddy. Matter of fact, the image of Diddy is so bad right now. I don't even see it. I don't see how he can recoup from it. Like, there's probably no way that he can recruit from this. Now, that's not to say that, you know, people can't bounce back. Like, you can always bounce back. But sometimes the setback is just too great sometimes. Too great. Now, like I said, it's not impossible, but in this sense, like, everything leading up until now and then everything else has been found out later on, like, I don't see how this man can possibly bounce back from this situation. But yeah,
nobody is sitting here, you know, welcoming P. Diddy to the public parties of the events. He's not going to be at WNBA All-Star Weekend or Summer League with the other rappers.
Yeah, nobody's going to invite him.
Next guest on a Kai Cenat stream, of course. Whether he gets bailed out today or tomorrow, that doesn't matter.
If Kai were to get this nigga on stream, it would break the internet. Absolutely break the internet.
It's cooked for that. But what does this mean for him, his public appearance, public image? Do we forget in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or do we take a stand as a community and say, hey, you know what? I don't like this. I'm not agreeing to any of this. This is messed up. And then also, what does this mean for future people that come out and attempt to speak about a powerful man? I don't think it's any secret Diddy is a powerful man, and there are already some people who are fearing for their lives in regards to him.
You already fear about reprisals against you just for speaking out. Would you be genuinely concerned about him coming after you? Is that one of the reasons you've left the country?
Well, here's the thing. Only thing I fear is God and my mom. And I made a promise to my mom that, I'm not gonna revert to an old lifestyle. And I know if he walks, I'm gonna be target number one, which is fine. I'm used to that. It's kind of exciting for me.
Is that exciting or is that slightly scary?
Oh no, it's definitely exciting, Pierce.
And it's not like he didn't get a good description or depiction of all the other jurors that were put out there. I mean, they have that information, so that is freely accessible. But even outside of them, there are other situations in which powerful men will be put on trial. The painting of the people involved in the case will be very, very bad, and then if they get to walk free because maybe incompetence by the court, or maybe there just wasn't the perfect victim in the situation. What does this mean for not only their health, safety, and well-being, but also the conversation about these people? I'm flabbergasted about this situation, but hey, it is what it is. I thought this man was freaky and wild and should have been put under the jail. The justice system did its big one on this one, though. That's crazy.
So I'm out here trying to live my life after the initial recording of the first portion of this P. Diddy video, when he got called back into the courtroom to see if he was getting out today, tomorrow, or sometime in the future. And the judge straight up denied his bond. It was said that his bond was proposed to be $1 million. That was supposed to be co-signed by him and his family and his mom and stuff like that. Then also surrendering of the passport, only being able to fly to certain districts and the other pretrial conditions and stuff like that. The judge was like, absolutely not. The reasons why make a lot of sense, and it makes you question P. Diddy's lawyers and his tactics. So the judge cited that, he would have to prove essentially that he was not a risk or a burden for violence towards the community, and he hadn't. He cited the incidences, not just the Cassidy incident in the hotel that one time, but the multiple times of violence there, the multiple times of violence toward Miss Jane Doe, whoever she may be, the unknown person in this case, and just said, hey, this is not a guy who can do things the right way, the upstanding way, and ultimately may potentially give more harm to people out there in the community. So he's gonna have.
Hey, yeah, man. So he's not necessarily not found guilty, but a good amount of the things, a good amount of the shit that they had accused him for, he has not been accused for, or he's not guilty of. So he's still guilty for prostitution and all that, but he's just not guilty for the sex trafficking and all that. But otherwise, this nigga is still locked down. I mean, he ain't entirely free. Keep all that freaky shit in jail, man. You can have a good time there. Don't bring that out here.
Since I got out the boss, I ain't motherfucking stock getting guala. I passed the game around to all my partners. You turn 21, you go get